Hello everyone, Lord here. Today we'll be taking a look at an upcoming TCG that is currently in closed beta. In particular, I'll be going over the basic rule set of this title. As with all content made in pre-release stages, keep in mind that nothing you see here is set in stone and may be subject to change before the game hits the shelves. Now that that's out of the way, welcome to Spellweaver. This is a one-on-one, head-to-head competitive card game, much akin to the likes of MTG and Hearthstone. For this reason, I will be drawing a lot of comparisons to both those titles during this video. So, both players start with 20 life, and the main objective is to reduce the opponent's life total to 0, while keeping yours above that number. Now, there are a few more twists to the victory condition, but we'll get to that a bit later. First, we'll need a deck, so let's dive straight into my cards. So, there are 6 factions, or aspects, as they're called in this game. Order, Wisdom, Nature, Rage, Dominion, and Corruption. These are very much like the colors of MTG, with white, blue, green, red, and black being represented, and with the additional purple thrown into the mix. So, there are 4 card types: creatures, spells, artifacts, and shrines. Let's first take a look at the game's basic resource: shrines. Shrines are much like lands in Magic the Gathering in the sense that they are actual cards, unlike the automatically generated mana crystals of Hearthstone, that provide the means to pay for the cost of cards. So shrines can be used in 2 distinct ways, both of which involve discarding them from your hand. The first increases your level in that shrine's aspect, with the second increasing your mana crystals and drawing you a replacement card. Now, certain cards require very few levels, but a lot of mana, while others require very little mana, but quite a few levels. As you may have noticed, there are also shrines with special abilities, but we'll get to those later. Let's take a look at creatures. Creatures are omnipresent in games, as they're the things that stay on the board, fight other creatures, and help reduce your opponent's life total to 0. So this is the anatomy of a basic creature card. This is the name, the cost, the required levels in order to play this card, the effect of the card, the flavor text, the subtypes, the attack, the health, and the speed of the card. Now, speed is a bit more specific to this game, but we'll get to that later as well. Next, we look at spells. In this game, the spells category actually encompasses 3 different kinds of cards. Action cards, known as sorceries in Magic the Gathering, like this one. Instant action cards, which are just like actions but can be used during your opponent's turn, like this one. And blessings or curses, which stay on the field after being played rather than having a one-time effect like other spells. These would be the enchantments of this game. So, like this card right here. Finally, the artifacts category includes cards which function identically to blessings and curses, but are a different subtype for the purposes of interacting with other cards. There are also some artifact creatures like this one. Now, I've already constructed a reasonably straightforward deck to give you an idea of actual gameplay, so let's jump right into a game versus the AI. Okay, so we start with 7 cards, 20 life, 0 levels in any aspect, and a single mana. We have the option of keeping this 7-card hand or drawing a new hand. In this case, I think I will keep this hand. So my opponent went first. During your first turn, you are unable to use shrines for mana. You can only use them to gain a level. So in his case, he gained 1 corruption level and played this card, a Zombie Legionnaire. 2 attack, 2 health, 1 speed, and it requires 1 mana and 1 corruption level. In my case, I will do a similar play. I will gain 1 corruption level, and I will play a Plague Vermin. Not exactly the Zombie Legionnaire, but it will do. So he is declaring an attack towards me. So in this game, creatures can attack both other players and specific creatures. Now, this is governed by the speed statistic which you see on creature cards. In this case, he is attacking me with a 1-speed creature. I have a 2-speed creature. Now, the significance of that is the following. Creatures with low speed, let's take this guy as an example, since he has the lowest possible speed, which is 1. This creature cannot attack my creature. So usually he would win in a fight. He is a 2-2 against a 1-1. However, he cannot attack my creature, as my creature has a speed of 2, which is higher. So not only that, but if I were to attack him with this creature, which is a 2-speed creature, he would be unable to block with this creature, which is a 1-speed creature. So in other words, creatures with higher speed cannot be blocked by creatures with lower speed, and creatures with lower speed cannot attack creatures with higher speed than themselves. In this case, however, I will not block his attack, even though I am able to, since I would simply lose my creature. Now, the thing you see here is the timer. You have 2 opportunities to play effects during your opponent's turn, and that is during the combat phase and the end turn phase. So that little timer gives you about 5 seconds to use your effects, or if you click it, it'll give you infinite time to play your effects. In this case, I have no effects, even though I would be able to use this card, as you can see by the glowing outline. I will choose not to use it. Now, what I drew here is a shrine with an effect. So, as you may notice, this shrine is quite different. The main difference being that if I gain a mana with this card, I do not draw a replacement card. However, I do gain this skill, Soul Prison. So this skill will be added to the tree here. As you can see, I already have 1 skill, which is my hero skill. And I can add 2 additional skills from shrines. So the skill Soul Prison will require 3 levels, 2 of which must be corruption. One of them can be a level in any aspect. It required 2 mana and would have a cooldown of 3 turns. It will force the opponent to sacrifice a creature, and I will gain 2 life. However, as this requires far too many levels for this stage of the game, I think I will ignore that. I will instead opt to play this Corruption Shrine, and I will play it for a mana and a card. So I drew another Corruption Shrine, which is just fine. Now, what I can do is I can play this card called Consume Spirit, which would give the opponent's creature -X, or minus a specific amount of attack and health, and give one of my creatures a specific amount of health and attack, where the number that is lost and gained is equal to my corruption level. In this case, as you can see, it says that X equals 1, so I will gain 1. I will choose to reduce this creature's attack and health by 1, and increase mine by the same amount. So now both creatures are 2/2, so I can attack with my creature into this one, and they will both die. Now, damage on creatures does not persist, so at the end of turn, if I did not kill this creature, it would have regained all of its missing health. In this case, though, I did kill it, so nothing happened. Now you're wondering why he's attacking me with only 1 zombie when he has 2. The zombie with the blue spinning circle was just summoned, so it has what will be known in Magic as Summoning Sickness. It cannot attack during the same turn on which it was summoned, so he can only attack me with the zombie he had previously. In this case, I have no blockers, so I will take the 2 damage. Alright, we're taking some damage, but we're not in too bad of a shape. I will use this Corruption Shrine to gain an additional corruption level so that I may play Restless Tombs. Now, this is a curse spell, which basically is an enchantment. So I play it, it stays on the field, and at the beginning of each of my turns, it will summon a Zombie Legionnaire onto the field. So a Zombie Legionnaire will be one of these guys. So he played a Mesmeric Spirit, which forced me to discard a card. I will discard this Infernal Tribute. And I will take 4 damage from his creatures, as I, again, did not play any blockers. Okay, well, we are getting close to the 3 levels required by the Sanctum of the Void, so I will go ahead and use it for mana, and gaining the ability, which I can possibly use next turn. However, I will simply play a Bedeviled Fiend and pass the turn. So this is a pretty good creature, but as you can see, it has some drawbacks. It has a very high attack and reasonable speed, but it has reasonably low HP for its cost. So he played a pretty big creature, a Dread Knight. It has very low speed, but it has a very powerful effect, along with the Deadly Keyword, which, as you can helpfully see by the tooltip there, makes it destroy each creature it deals damage to. So I will choose to use Corruption Shrine for corruption level, so I can unlock these abilities, which both require 3 levels, 2 of which must be corruption. And I will choose to attack him with the Bedeviled Fiend. So as you can notice, this is a creature with speed of 2, so the only creature that can block it is a creature with speed 2 or higher, so that will be his Mesmerizing Spirit. There we are, and I killed the Mesmerizing Spirit. I will also use this ability, which is my hero's special ability, which will return a creature that died this turn from the graveyard onto the field under my control. And I will return his Mesmeric Spirit under my control. And I will pass the turn. Now you may have noticed the Mesmeric Spirit went to the back line rather than the front line, like most other creatures. So there's a reason this happened. Most creatures do go on the front line. However, the back line is called the support line. This is where creatures with the support keyword usually go. Also, creatures with the flying keyword. Now, the difference between these is very simple. Most creatures cannot attack from the support line, nor can they defend. For example, the Dread Knight's special ability moves the creature to the support line, making it unable to block, as you can see. Well, it is exhausted in this case, but regardless. This creature is unable to attack or block, so during my turn I will not be able to attack with it either. You can move creatures between the lines during your turn freely. However, again, they cannot attack or block from the support line, unless they are flying creatures like this one. As you can see from the tooltip there, it says can attack and block from the support line. Also, worth noting, creatures on the support line are protected from attacks, so this Mesmerizing Spirit cannot be attacked directly like these creatures were. So I will choose to block this creature with my Mesmerizing Spirit to avoid taking 4 damage. Alright, so I will move my Fiend forward, and I will play a Blood Witch Harpy. Now this is another creature with flying, which goes to the support line and cannot be attacked directly. I will pass the turn as well. Now, his zombie there died because my Blood Witch Harpy forced him to sacrifice a level 1 creature, which the zombie is. In this case, it is forcing me to sacrifice a level 1 creature as well. So I will sacrifice this creature with Summoning Sickness and gain a temporary mana crystal. I will also move my zombie forward. I will use this ability, which I gained from the shrine previously, to force the opponent to sacrifice a creature. Surprisingly enough, he sacrifices Dread Knight, which is a questionable decision to say the least, but oh well. AI is AI, and I will play this Mesmerizing Spirit as well. I will sacrifice this Zombie Legionnaire. So as you can see, we drew the same shrine. Now, when we already have this effect, if we gain the skill a second time, it will simply refresh the cooldown, so I can use it instantly, even though the little watch here shows there's 2 more turns of cooldown. This is a graphical issue which they're working to fix, actually. So I will use it to make him sacrifice his only creature, leaving him completely defenseless. And I will attack with everything. Now you probably noticed, but when creatures have disease coming out of them, this means they're exhausted or tapped, as Magic terms would dictate. This means they cannot attack further or block incoming creatures. Also, since I killed this Bedeviled Fiend, I think I'll use my hero's special ability to bring it back under my control. So he drew rather poorly, and it appears that this is game over for the AI. There we go. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Now, what you saw there was a very basic example of playing a single aspect deck focused on reducing the opponent's life total to 0. But keep in mind that that's not all there is to this game. Multi-aspect decks are not only possible, but encouraged, and there are multiple alternative win conditions, including reaching 40 life and milling the opponent's deck. If you are interested in the more advanced mechanics of this game or simply want to see more gameplay, stay tuned, as I will most likely be playing more of this game. Till next time.